This year we've got lots going on. We've got 45 events in total starting this week. We've got all sorts of different writers coming together from all over the world, including Scottish crime writer Ian Rankin. We've got best-selling writer Amy Tan and author of Wild Swans Young Chang. They're just three of our headliners. Lots of local writers as well, coming together for 10 days of talks, workshops and literary lunches and dinners and book signings and readings. Lots and lots going on. That's a difficult question because I'm excited about all of them, and that is true because I've read works by all of the writers coming, and it's hard to pick just one. Maybe I can pick a few highlights.
Okay.
So one writer we've got coming this year is an American writer called Min Jin Lee, and she's just written a book called Pachinko, which has just been shortlisted for the National Book Award in the US, and it's incredible. If you liked Wild Swans and you're a fan of Young Chang's work, it's sort of a similar epic story that takes you across many generations. It focuses on a Japanese family.
Okay. Because it sounds like she might be a Korean.
She's Korean.
Right?
Sorry, so it focuses on a Korean family in Japan.
Okay. And Pachinko is that slot game?
That's right, yeah. So
play.
it's a beautiful book. Cannot recommend it enough. And she's a fabulous writer and speaker, so I'm very much looking forward to hearing from her. Another writer that I'm looking forward to, another fiction writer, is a British writer called Claire Fuller. Her book this year, Swimming Lessons, is one of my favourite books of the year. Beautiful, very sort of English story. She's a beautiful writer. And we've got lots of local writers that I'm looking forward to hearing from too. Dun Kai Chung, who wrote a book called Cantonese Love Stories. And he wrote that as part of a Penguin special series to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the handover.
Okay, and this was, and Shusi and a few others also took part in that collection.
And so she'll be speaking also about her new book, which is the Dear John style sort of love letter to Hong Kong. And another couple of writers that are featured in that series, Ben Bland, whose book is called Generation HK, and Anthony Dapperin, whose book is City of Protest. So a great mix of fiction and non-fiction. And my other highlight will be Carol Ann Duffy, who is just a brilliant writer and a brilliant poet and a fantastic performer as well. She'll be speaking to 850 school children at the Grand Hall at HKU next week. And I can't wait. Slightly terrified about that many children, but I'm looking forward to seeing her. Well, it's the reading side of things. I'm very strict with myself, and I put aside time every single day to read and make sure that I do read. And I'm a complete nerd about it. I've got my reading lists, and I know exactly what I'm going to be reading next. I also know how long I have to read a book, which is really quite nerdy, but I have to do that, otherwise I won't get through them all.
So you set yourself a time
to
finish it? Okay.
Yeah, so I have a Goodreads account that I can add all of my books on and then make sure that I'm on target. It's really nerdy, really, really nerdy. I don't think I've ever told anyone that, so it's a little bit embarrassing.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
And I read a lot about books as well. So I every morning will read the book review pages on various websites, newspapers, particularly at the end of the year, the roundup of that year's best books. I follow very closely the awards from that year, the literary awards. So I read a lot about reading and about books and literature, and talk to a lot of people as well, and make sure that I'm always asking people for book recommendations. Well, I worked for a charity in London before I moved to Hong Kong, and it was another small arts charity that was predominantly music, but I'm not a complete fraud. I do have an English literature degree, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. And when I moved to Hong Kong, I met with one of the directors on the board, and they suggested that I volunteer with the festival, and then the role came up and I went for it, and it's been brilliant. So I feel very lucky to have been in Hong Kong at the right time. Well, I think every city deserves a literary festival, and like you said, there is the writers' circle. So if there's a group of people here, then that's enough for us to warrant a festival, in my opinion. But the festival isn't just about books and about picking up literally picking up a book and reading it. It's about discussing ideas, about discussing different current affairs. It can be, we've got lots of events, and you don't necessarily have to have read a book about it, but you might have just read the news. So talks about China or France this year with Jonathan Fenby. So you might not have necessarily read his book, but you certainly know what's going on in the world and the politics in France or China. And the festival's very much moving towards that idea of us being a festival of ideas. We recognise that Hong Kong isn't like lots of other cities where people do read on the underground or as flourished.
Both of us have worked in London. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Although I think that's got a lot to do with whether you can get mobile reception.
That's true. Yeah, because if it's Candy Crush or books, which one are you going to pick? And we don't have lots of bookstores here. But I do think it's still important that we have this this festival, especially the fact that we're in Hong Kong and things here as what they are, which is politically we're going through an interesting and difficult time for lots of people. We need a literary festival. We need that platform for people to be able to express their thoughts and share their ideas. So I think actually it's more vital than ever. No, not particularly. I think that we've always, certainly in the last few years, had a good balance of events that focus on politics and then those that are talking about fiction and literature and poetry. But we certainly don't have to tread a line or be careful about what we programme. And I hope we never do, because that's not what we want. So I already mentioned Carol-Anne Duffy, who I'm very excited to see. She's still on the GCSE curriculum, which is amazing. She was there when I was at school on the curriculum, so it'll be quite amazing seeing her. And of course, lots of brilliant local poets, and there's so many fantastic poets in Hong Kong. We've got a great panel discussion with some of our best known poets here, Tammy Ho, Nicholas Wong, Louise Ho. They'll be coming together to talk about 20 years of Hong Kong verse. Tammy
Ho being a lifetime member of the Hong Kong Writers' Circle and a previous Hong Kong Writers' Circle anthology editor as well.
Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. She's doing quite a few events with us this year. She always puts on wonderful programming for us, so I'm looking forward to that. And we've got a couple of international poets coming too, as well as Carol-Anne Duffy. So Adam Riordan and Helen Mort too. They'll be joining us to recite some of their work. They will be doing a panel about dystopia and about the idea of Hong Kong being a city of dystopia in fiction. So the Hong Kong Review of Books will be joined by Ken Liu to talk about that, which is very exciting. Ken Liu, his work has just, over the last few years, completely taken off, and he's not just a wonderful translator, but a fantastic short story writer and novelist as well. I think my number one choice would probably be Margaret Atwood, because she's a hero of mine and I love her work. I love the way she speaks. I love everything about her. So Margaret, if you're listening, please come. We hope to be much bigger. Again, we're building every year and our audiences are growing and our number of events are growing, and we're hoping to do that again next year. And we're hoping that we will be able to find a home for the festival as well. So a venue that we can have every single one of our events in. At the moment, we use lovely spaces across the city in Fringe Club, this year the Museum of Medical Sciences, the university. But we would like to have a home where everything is all under one roof and it's very easy for audiences to come and hang around all day and hang out with the authors, and that's the plan anyway. They can go to festival.org.hk. On our website there's links to Ticket Flat, which is where our tickets are listed, and there's brochures around the city as well, various venues and cafes and bookshops, so they can pick something up from there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.